Dyslexic Daisy by Fiona Milligan. Daisy, time to wake up for school. Oh no, I don't want to go to school. School is so hard and I have to present my project today in Miss Chambers' class, said Daisy. Daisy ran to school, nervous that she would be late for her first class. She got there just 2 minutes before the bell rang. Hello, class. How was everyone's weekend? Said Miss Chambers. Good, said the class. Okay, class, I know all of you guys have been working very hard on this project, but unfortunately, today is the last day to present. Everyone has gone except for Daisy, right? Asked Miss Chambers. Daisy quietly said, Miss Chambers, I'm not feeling so well again, and I don't think that I can present. Well, Daisy, this is the last day for presentations. You know what that means, right? If you don't present today, then you will get a 0, said Miss Chambers. All of the class's eyes opened wide. One of the classmates said with an awful attitude to Daisy, Just do it. You'll be fine. We all did it. Why can't you? Daisy got up in front of the whole class and went to start her presentation. Okay, guys. Today my project will be on something called dyslexia. I decided to do this project on dyslexia because I am dyslexic. This is why I have trouble reading in front of everyone. Dyslexia is a kind of learning disability, or in other words, it's hard for a dyslexic to read, write, and spell. You're born with dyslexia. You cannot catch it. Having dyslexia does not mean that you're lazy. It actually means quite the opposite, since you will always have to work harder and never quit. Time is the best gift that you can give a dyslexic person. I found out I was dyslexic in grade 1. I don't like school. I worry sometimes in life that I will never be able to read or go to university and keep up my grades. My mom says there's nothing to worry about. There are so many people out there with dyslexia who are successful, and one day I will be too. I am 10 years old. I got tested to find out if I was dyslexic. My teacher saw that I had some difficulties with things like reading, writing, and spelling. Some of the signs that caught my teacher's eye were mixing up letters when pronouncing words, and trouble learning familiar words like the months of the year and the days of the week. I struggled with math problems, and I was a late talker. I'm a very smart kid, and I actually have an above-average IQ, but a below-average reading level. At least that's what my parents say about me. My babysitter and my dad and my grandma are all dyslexic. It runs in families, and it gets passed down. 1 in 5 people are dyslexic. Isn't that crazy? My babysitter Jenna says that school has gotten harder for her as she's gotten older. She's been bullied pretty badly because she can't read very well and because she's slower than the rest of the class and her friends. Some of the things that she struggles with are short-term memory and mixing up her lefts and rights. She has to read things over and over again to try to understand it. She has a really hard time getting ideas out of her head onto paper or when telling someone. She's working on all these things, but it will take some time for her to get a handle on things. She's really smart and has a lot of friends, but she just isn't very good at some parts of school. My dad says he's had the same experience. He had lots of friends when he was in school. Only thing was, he wasn't very book smart. My dad worked hard in school, and he didn't know that he was dyslexic until I found out that I was dyslexic. When I found out, he put the puzzle pieces together and figured out that he was also dyslexic, mostly because it runs in the family, and he had all the same issues as I was having. People think that males have dyslexia more often than females, but there's no proof of that. It happens more or less in one sex than in the other. Dyslexia affects 20% of the U.S. population directly. I wouldn't be surprised if it affected you in some way. It may not be directly, but you may have a sibling or a friend or teammate or maybe even a coach. My dad still has lots of difficulty with tests. Passing standardized tests can be a barrier to career advancement. Sometimes he can get stressed and overwhelmed in certain situations that require reading, especially in testing. It has taken him lots of practice, and he is still practicing to this day. My dad's mom or grandma was never officially diagnosed with dyslexia because when she was a child, not a lot was known about it. When she went to school, kids were labeled as either smart or dumb. My grandma always wondered why she couldn't do what some of the other kids could do in class. She wasn't book smart, but she had a lot of street smarts. After high school, she decided to get a hands-on job because that's how she worked best, just like most other dyslexics. She is in her 80s now and she has Alzheimer's. Since dyslexics have bad memories in general, it was very hard to diagnose her Alzheimer's. The family didn't know if it was bad memory like always or new Alzheimer's disease. She didn't get very good grades when she was younger. There were no electronics or devices that could help her like people have now. My grandma really likes to do puzzles. Most dyslexics are good at puzzles because their brains are wired to focus in on a solution. Daisy finishes her presentation by saying, I hope you all liked my presentation about dyslexia through the lifespan. As Daisy finishes, the class starts clapping. Miss Chambers says to Daisy, I didn't know that you were dyslexic. Thanks for letting us all know, and if you ever need help, then just ask. Daisy smiled to herself. I'm always a little bit afraid to tell people, but I'm beginning to realize that the more I tell people, the more they understand about it, and the more they are willing to help me. She thought about her mom always telling her that people are going to judge you, so better to have people judge you from a place of knowledge than a place of ignorance. Daisy was beginning to realize that her mom was right all along.